Now starting, all attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, December the 15th, and I'm Donna Will, Professional Development Coordinator for the Developmental Disabilities Administration. We welcome you to the Maryland Community of Practice for Supporting Families webinar. Today's topic is honoring different faiths and practices during the holiday season. This session is hosted by Mary Ann Kane Breschi, parent, and DDA's Director of Family Supports. We also have Dr. Monica McCall, President and CEO of Creative Options, and she's today's guest. So before we begin, I'd like to go over a few things about the webinar. All participants are in listen-only mode. There are two options for listening to the webinar by computer and phone. And if you have trouble switching, if you have trouble hearing, you can try switching by clicking on the audio section in the panel. We have 4 handouts in this webinar, and you can find that in the handout section. And you can also email me if you are listening by phone and didn't get them. We are recording the webinar, and we post that on YouTube, and we put it on the DDA website. We're taking a few polls today, and we hope that you'll participate so we can learn more about you. We're going to do 2 polls now, and then we're going to do a few later on. So let me see if I can launch one of those right now. All right, we'll do where do you live? Okay, so just if you can just click on the one that pertains to you, that would be great. We'll give you a few seconds, maybe, I don't know. Looks like 60% have voted. That's great. We'll give it a few more seconds, and then we'll close the poll. Okay, we're going to close the poll. And we're going to share. Okay, it looks like 48% live in Central Region, 12% live in Eastern Region, 27% live in Southern, and 12% in Western. So now I'm going to hide the poll. Okay, and let me do one more. What is your relationship with disability? So the selections are Coordinator of Community Services, DDA Provider, Family Member, Self, Other. And we've got about 70% that have voted. And we'll give it a few more seconds. Okay, I'm going to close the poll and share. Okay, 9% are CCS, 52% are DDA providers, 12% family members, and 27% other. I'm going to hide the poll.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I guess now I'm going to turn it over to Mary Ann Kane Breschi. And good afternoon, Mary Ann.
Thanks, Donna, and thanks for administering those polls, and thanks to all of you for taking them. It's just important information for us to begin to gather so we can we know who's participating, and later on we'll be asking different questions about the kinds of information you'd like to learn more about, so forth and so on. So thank you for doing that. But to get us started, let me welcome all of you, and on behalf of the Maryland Community of Practice for Supporting Families, welcome to our webinar. The purpose, for those of you who don't know, the purpose of this series for Supporting Families is to bring people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families, however defined, along with others. We want to connect, share information, ideas, and learn from each other in an effort to support one another and build knowledge, skill, and resiliency within ourselves and the community as we find our way through life and, of course, through this pandemic. Throughout this series, or we use this series to discuss and address a variety of topics and concerns with which individuals and families are facing in everyday life, and again, related to COVID. And we do that with the help of invited guests and subject matter experts. And we always do this through the lens of Charting the Life Course framework. Now, again, for those of you who aren't familiar with Charting the Life Course, it is a set of universal principles and tools that was developed by the out of the University of Missouri, Kansas City, their Institute for Human Development, Family to Family program. It was developed to help people with developmental disabilities and their families create a vision for their good life, to help them think about what they're going to need to know and do, navigate and develop supports and resources, and finally, just to really discover what it's going to take to live the lives of their choosing and to do it. Ultimately, these principles inform and guide the work of our Maryland Community of Practice for Supporting Families, as well as that of the DDA, as we work to create regulations, policies, and practices to better support people with disabilities and their families across the lifespan. December is filled with holidays, traditions, and celebrations. Many of them are religious, while others are not. Today, we're going to consider the social and spirituality life domain of Charting the Life Course. We're going to have a discussion about how we can and do support either our family members with intellectual developmental disabilities and/or the people we support. We want to support them to celebrate or not the holidays through the many different traditions and practices. And we're going to do that with our special guest, Dr. Monica McCall, who is President and CEO of Creative Options Incorporated. And welcome, Monica.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much for being here. So, as you know, I have a whole bunch of questions for you. And if you want me to advance the slides at any point, just ask me to do so. But whoops, I did that. Are you okay with this slide being up?
That's fine.
Okay, so let's get started. And for those of you who are in attendance, please know, please, if you have questions, please feel free to enter them into your chat. And we'll be taking questions at the end. So to get started, Monica, how does Creative Options navigate, honor, and support the spiritual, cultural, and religious traditions of the people they support, especially during the holiday seasons? I'm sorry,
That's all right. People don't need to look at me. They can look at the wonderful people that we support. So that's
okay.
fine. Like,
I don't know why it's continuing to move. Okay.
Well, Donna, this is a great topic to be had and to discuss. And, at Creative Options, there is a continued effort to involve everyone, that there's a cultural awareness, number one, and also there's the respect and honoring of different religions, spiritual beliefs, and it's just being inclusive of spiritual, traditional, and cultural traditions that people have. So having the knowledge, being able to express that to the people we support, and educating and acknowledging, all of the holidays. Not everyone is Christian, not everyone is Catholic. So, but just acknowledging all of the holidays that happen. And certainly, like you said, December is definitely a month that there are many holidays. So there's celebrations of Hanukkah, there's celebration of Christmas, there's celebration of Kwanzaa. So just having the education and knowledge of all of the holidays, and also noting that even people of the same faith, may celebrate holidays differently. So really sort of doing your curiosity and your homework to find out what and how do people want to celebrate holidays, calling family members, involving them in holiday planning, and some of the photos that are trickling on the screen are photos of some of the folks at our annual holiday celebration. Saddened to say, for the past 2 years, we've not been able to do the big celebration, but there are individual celebrations that occur throughout the organization, throughout the entire month. That's some
Fantastic.
of the ways that we do it. And again, it's recognizing everyone's beliefs, everyone's spiritual traditions, and as best we can, identifying those traditions. And they can be from someone, we have a young lady that does a Kwanzaa celebration, and we have a gentleman who's Jewish, and there's a number of celebrations around it. And, making certain that the staff are aware that it's not just one celebration, it's multiple religions, multiple spiritual beliefs, and many ways that people celebrate those beliefs.
Let me ask you this. So I need to apologize. I'm not certain why, but the PowerPoint is forwarding the slides of its own on its own accord, and I'm not quite sure. So we're going to have this ongoing little presentation here. So so just enjoy it as we speak. I really am not sure what's happening here, but it's okay. Let me ask you this. What are some of the key elements in supporting people as they celebrate the holidays for you? Oh my gosh, I don't know what's.
Yeah, it seems to be on a rotating schedule. Well, I believe that some of the key elements is, first of all, honoring the religion, the faith, and the beliefs that people understand it, and based upon their individual values. I think that developing relationships with families and friends and other significant people in their life is key to ensure that those elements are a part of their celebrations, and supporting them in the traditions that they have is definitely a key element. And helping people to, I guess, pursue their own religious purposes and beliefs. So if making certain that the staff understand that there is a difference, and it is key to helping people be educated about their own religious beliefs in a manner in which they understand it.
So absolutely. So how do you support staff to be able to support individuals and to be able to do it well? And what are some of the challenges around that?
Oh, well, supporting the staff, I mean, again, it's the awareness, number one. So educating, making certain that everyone, let's not just assume that everyone's going to encompass people's traditions and beliefs during the holidays, but just making a concerted effort that each of the staff members and each of the people we support know it's holiday season. So it's a big thing within our organization now, the holiday season. So that awareness, one, making certain that they're aware. Two, giving them some educational materials and information. I didn't know a lot about Kwanzaa until I attended a Kwanzaa event years ago that one of the people we support put together. And she and the staff did the education, and I got many more details about the celebration of Kwanzaa. And I understand a lot better about Hanukkah because people did the education. So educating people, getting, we have a number of pastors and ministers and churches that have affiliations that do celebrations as well. But educating folks, I think that's definitely just a key element there, and being able to provide the staff with that information. And some of the challenges, I would say that one challenge is that people have different beliefs. So you have staff members with different religious beliefs. Staff member who said, hey, Doc, you need to understand, I'm Jehovah's Witness by faith, and I don't celebrate these traditional holidays. And so I'm just going to take off those days or things like that. Like, whoa, we still need your support.
Yeah.
What are some other ways that we can do that? And we had other people that were Jehovah's Witness, so maybe that staff ended up working with those people as opposed to the people she was assigned, or other tasks, and helping them to understand that the celebration is about the person they're supporting, not necessarily them. It's great if they can join in, but if their religious beliefs, don't support that tradition, that's fine. And you just find other ways to utilize the staff, but you help them understand that they're there to support the person that we have there.
And do you generally find that staff are more than willing and they get it and they understand the role that they're playing?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
I am blessed with a number of direct support workers that do get it, and they do ensure that family members are involved, that the houses are decorated in manners that are suitable, that events and other community things that are going on that they become a part of, and they ensure that people get to those things of their preferences. And there's a lot of conversation about holidays and what did you do as a kid? How did you and your family celebrate this holiday? And just, try to mimic some of those things as well.
Yeah, and I guess I'm wondering, as a family member, and for other family members, what would you say to family members, families that you're not necessarily serving, of course, but how would you encourage them to even approach the topic or address the topic with their providers?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know me, I am coach approach, and I'm always going to use that approach. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask what are the plans, what are the events, what kind of things are happening around the celebration of Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, or whatever. What kind of things are happening? And, when things go silent and there aren't any things, here are some things that my son or daughter love to be involved in as a family or whatever the plan may be. How can you support us in doing that? And that would at least bridge the conversation. It sends a message of an expectation. We're expecting to continue to celebrate our family traditions and our family values, those things that are important to us in terms of our spiritual belief. How can you support that?
Wonderful. Absolutely. Okay. Changing topics here just a little bit, but still focused on the holidays, talking about mental health and managing mental health. For many of us, the holidays can be a wonderful, joyous time, but for others, it can be a very difficult time. What tips or guidance, and so it's true for people with disabilities, right? So what tips or guidance do you offer to people that you support and the staff members that support them around those particular challenges, these particular challenges?
I think that's a very good discussion to be had, because I do think that too often we all get caught up in the holiday and we don't look at the individual needs of the people we support. And mental health is such a it's so evident, and more so in these upcoming years because of COVID and other things that are going on. So I would say that the tips, again, as a provider, I am making sure that we are providing staff with information and education and recognition so that they can look for some signs that things are not necessarily going as well. Recognizing that the holidays can be this real busy kind of season. And for some people, they love it. I mean, my mom's probably out shopping at this moment and loving every minute of it, but for some people, it's too much stimulation. There's a lot going on. So one, them having the awareness that it's really easy to get caught up in the season, but we can't forget to practice some self-care and to support people through some of that self-care, making certain that people have time for themselves, finding ways to help relax and enjoy the season, eating well, making sure people get enough sleep to help them reduce that stress and improve that state of mind. I say to the staff, be aware of some of the events. I mean, there are folks that go down to Baltimore City and 34th Street and look at all the lights. Yeah. For some people, that's just too much. It's too many people. It's too stimulating. Yeah. So just being aware of that. And those people that need support, that may need more professional support, a therapist or whatever, we should help, support and navigate those needs as they come about. So just being knowledgeable, being aware, also
Right.
making certain that we're taking care and supporting people in taking care of themselves in that practice of self-care.
And it really boils down to person-centered thinking again, doesn't it? Who is the person? What's important to them? What's important for them? What do they need? And really knowing that and being really intentional about that and supporting them accordingly. That's great. Are there any other recommendations that you might offer? Well, to the people we actually support, speak up, I would say, but working with families, are there any recommendations you might make for other providers who might feel maybe a little trepidatious in working with families around the holidays? I don't know, anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say this. One, I can't think of one situation where if people were given the opportunity to speak about what they want for the holidays, that they didn't include their families. Very few, if any, I can't think of any off the top of my head. People want to be with their families, and so I think, and maybe it's my own personal belief, I have a very large family, but I think it's just knowing the people you support and involving their families. At Creative Options, we've always made family like the theme of the holidays. And we have so many examples of how family was included in the celebrations, how we've located family members. One of the photos in here is a gentleman who could not find his family. And here's a stat.
Would you like me to move forward the PowerPoint to find him?
We can find him.
You tell me when.
Keep going. Let's see. There's where you see it, and such memories every time I look at it.
Yeah.
So, keep going. There's anyway, I have so many. I have stories associated with all these beautiful faces of people celebrating. I mean, first of all, in our holiday celebrations, people just got garbed up. Oh, they got all dressed up. This is like the celebration, the holiday celebration of the year. We generally, there are wonderful stories about ladies selecting what they're going to wear at the local Ross store, and the supervisor comes over because she's getting a little bit upset because she can't find something to wear, and the supervisor in the store comes over and helps her pick out this beautiful gown, and then donated about 5 of these gorgeous gowns for the ladies to wear. And they came up one by one to go through, make a selection. So you see a lot of the ladies in these beautiful gowns that they selected for the celebration. I mean, how key is that? We all, whether we wear the ugly sweater or whether we wear the extravagant gown, it's a part of our celebration. So family members are just so key. And in this particular photo in the middle, the gentleman had lost his loving sister, and finding other cousins who could come to the celebration became just the excitement of it all as well. The young lady in the blue who dances from the beginning of the party to the end. You can't get her off the dance floor to dance. And she selects different songs, things of that sort. So you learn about preferences also by just watching them celebrate, watching the staff celebrate, watching the family members involved with the celebrations. And so these stories tell it all. The gentleman who I'm standing there with the microphone and about to say prayer, and he says, "Can I say the prayer?" Of course you can say the prayer. So now there's a battle over who says the prayer to begin the celebration. The gentleman on the picture where I'm pointing, he says to me, "Mommy and Rudolph." And I'm going, "What about Mommy and Rudolph?" And he starts singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So during the celebrations, he gets to celebrate by singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer every celebration, and he sings it from beginning to end. And you know what's interesting about that story is that in most cases he will repeat what you say, but in singing this song, he sang it from beginning to end. So obviously, mommy, and I may be jumping, that ladder of inference, but mom had a celebration with him. He recalls it through Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So
Yeah.
how great is that? And just involving family members and staff members all coming together, all celebrating the season and the various holidays. To hear some of the stories of we've had reunions of families, a family member that we had no idea, searching for her son. Somewhere along the way, there was a transition in care. He came to us through foster care system, and he and mom were separated. And then all he wanted was a connection to his family. And to have the staff person, he had a phone number of an aunt, and that number didn't work. The staff person decided to dial one number up and dial one number down. Luckily, he gets in touch with an aunt, and we reunion right there at our celebration. It was probably one of the most memorable ones because here a family gets connected again. And from that connection, that young man is self-directing along with his family. So,
yeah, and you talk about well-being or strong mental health, right? When you're connected to the people that you love, nothing is more compelling or more bolsters the spirit than that. I think about when my daughter, my kids were young, and we would attend a mass, a Catholic mass for several years. We'd do the Christmas Eve mass, and the priest who would oversee would actually offer the mass. He would sign the entire mass, and he ensured that all folks with disabilities who were in attendance participated in all aspects of the mass. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Catholic ceremony, there's at one point where you offer up prayer, and you do it verbally, and without a doubt, every individual who was able to offer up a prayer verbally just prayed for their family, or wanting to be with mom and dad, or can't wait to see mom and dad. And I mean, over and over and over again, it was about family. So it is just so important to make that connection. And family may not always be the biological family. Family differs for different people. But nonetheless, those connections are so strong and so important to maintain. Just it's wonderful.
And for I know for us, in having the families enjoying celebrating with family members oftentimes can create just this great relationship with the provider organization as well. It can be the foundation. I mean, who's not going to be happy around a celebration?
Well, yeah, you know what? I was just thinking that what an optimal time to build trust, because it is a happy time, as you've said, and generally people are in good spirits and want to work together and support one another, and it really is an optimal time to do that.
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
And even when there are challenges, if we have a situation where there's a challenge with the family, oftentimes families will reflect upon that celebration, and that can bring us to this point where we can work out whatever challenge may come our way. But they don't forget those celebrations. The people we support don't forget those celebrations and the little trinkets and gifts, and you see them around the room. So they're memorable to folks.
Oh, right? They sure are. Okay, well, with that, I am going to progress, and I want to offer a few handouts to our attendees, and just talk about this a little bit. In your handout section, we have the integrated. We actually have the trajectory and the integrated STAR, and the hope here is an integrated star, Charting Life Course integrated star that was completed at the national level, just for ideas and ways to think about the different categories when if you've got particular challenges that you're trying to address when working with families. And it's here for your use, just to give you some ideas. But here, these in your handout section, you'll have a blank trajectory. And again, this is a wonderful tool to spur a conversation. If you don't already know the person that you're supporting and what's important to them and what they might want and how they might want to celebrate the holidays or not, this is a great tool to initiate that conversation. And then, of course, as you begin to have those conversations, if there are specific challenges that bubble up that might prevent in some way or another, or just present as a hurdle to that person being able to celebrate in the way that he or she might like. Again, the integrated star is just a wonderful tool to brainstorm around resources, supports, and services that might be available to the individual, to the family, and or to staff as well, or the provider agency, around how can we possibly do this. So it is there in your handout section. So please print it out and use it. And with that, we'd like to take any questions or hear from anyone. If you have any reflections, questions, or thoughts that you might like to share, Michelle has agreed to monitor the questions coming in, and we'll read them out. Michelle, do we have any?
We do not have any questions. We had someone just say never be afraid to ask families and clients and who want to chat and share. And that was pretty much it.
Okay. Well then, Monica, is there anything else you'd like to add before we?
Just to extend to everyone, happy holidays, and most definitely enjoy the diversity, diversity that exists amongst the holidays. Enjoy that and celebrate that with people. That's just so important, and ensure to include their families. Families, this is a time of families, and whatever way family is defined, we should support that. We should encourage that, and we should use a little bit of curiosity to find out what are some of the values, spiritual values, traditional values that people have and they'd like to hold on to. Just educating.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I would like to thank you for that. And I'd like to add that to think of families as a resource, truly a resource to you as a direct support professional, a resource to the provider agency as well. Because the very reality is this, your staff want to celebrate the holidays too. We all want to celebrate. And as much as we want to support the individual to take care of themselves and to have that space to do so, it's true of staff. Our direct support professionals need that kind of support as well. And what role does family play in that? But before we go, if you wouldn't mind, we have 3 more poll questions, quick poll questions we'd like you to answer, if you don't mind. And Michelle, can you pull the 3rd poll question up, please?
Sure thing.
Thank you so much.
And the poll question is up. Still collecting. Right now, we have about 73% at yes, 28% at no.
Okay, great. Thank you. How about the next one, please?
With about, okay, they're still voting. Looks like at about 56% of the votes that are coming in, we have 61% that greatly satisfied, and we have 36% satisfied, 3% not satisfied.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And then our final poll, please.
And we have 100% yes.
Awesome. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you,
But
Michelle.
just changed. 3% maybe.
Oh, okay. That's okay too. Thank you. All righty. Well, then with that, I'd like to first and foremost thank Monica for being here with us today and sharing with us how, in fact, Creative Options works, strives, and does, in fact, support the people they serve to and you honor their beliefs and support them to celebrate the holidays in ways that are important to them. I want to thank all of you for joining us here today, and of course, Deputy Secretary Bernie Simons for making this possible. And I just encourage all of you to stay tuned for information about our upcoming webinar in January. And with that, just would love to wish you a happy, healthy, and safe holiday season, and take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.